Hey now. So let me start. Wait. I never do this right. I never do it right. I'm back. I'm live. We were live before, but I always do it wrong. So now I have to sing my song. Dun, 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 dun. The newsreel. This is the newsreel. Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, gender non-conforming folks, however you feel like walking into the new year. Welcome. Thank you. This is the newsreel with Carla Steele, where I watch the news so you don't have to. My very special guest today is Jade, just Jade.
Just Jade.
Historian, really smart chick. And this other guest, I don't know if you could tell, but she might be related to me.
We go way back.
I might have known her since the beginning of my life. Her might be my sister, Angela Tyler. Because I have chosen these two ladies for today, because, you know, I told you all a long time ago I was going to redirect how we do the newsreel and not try to cram a lot of stories in, but I really want to make sure that we take our current events and we thread the needle with history, because the reason we're in this mess in this country now is because Americans don't know history, so we are doomed to continue to repeat it as the Republicans try to form a coup and steal the election. These are traitors. This is treason, but that is not exactly why we're here today. Today, we need to unpack the history of Karen, because I think, and ladies, you can agree or disagree, I think until white women get a hold of themselves and take responsibility for themselves and take responsibility for their culpability in racism and race relations, we're going to keep having some of the same problems. Just like that white woman that's running in Georgia right now.
QAnon girl?
Well, this is I don't know if she's a QAnoner, but she is she's a white Republican.
One of them was.
Woman.
May not be her.
Well, the one that they swore them were the two QAnons in.
Okay.
One of them was a woman. That's happened already.
Okay.
The likes of Kelly Loeffler, this is her name,
Okay.
current
That
senator,
one.
who has supported racism, misogyny. She's the problem. And white women, this is going to be a hard show for y'all. And I need to gather yourselves, steel your spines for this conversation. So the reason I invited my sister on today is not just because she's cute and she looks like me, but she's really smart and she does a lot of social service work. And she has a unique perspective on the white savior Karen. And I think we got to discuss white savior Karen at some point. There's a lot to take in, but this is the thing. I want to start with a news story that my sister sent me. Grammy Award winning trumpet player Kenyon Harrell, Black man with a Black son, was at a hotel in New York. A white woman who had stayed in the hotel the day before came back to the hotel looking for her phone. She accosted, and from the rest of the story, she accosted two Black people um, to demand that they show her their phone. Uh, I don't know what made her switch her accosting from the one Black man to this 14-year-old boy, but she accosted this boy who was with his father, who she didn't know was famous. Now, the tragedy of her little tragic tale about somebody taking her phone is upheld by the management of this hotel, right? So the manager, diffusing the situation, asked the Black men to just give us the phone, just so we can see and we can get it over with. Just give us the phone. And the father, who he didn't know was famous either, refused and used every bit of his famed privilege to escort his son out of the situation and make a big famous stink about it all over the place. The hotel has since apologized. The white woman is saying she's not a racist at all. But where are we in America that white women feel this empowered and entitled? This is where you come in, Jade. Who is the original Karen? Well, not the original. The original Karens were in Europe, but who is America's first documented Karen?
Before Martha Washington, after Martha Washington, or before Martha Washington?
Now, see here, okay, because I wasn't even talking about her, but we can start there.
I just throw her name because I was talking to somebody about Ona Judge today, and Ona Judge is the enslaved woman that was owned by the Washingtons that ran away, and they tried to convince to come back and be their slave. And she was like, no.
She's the one that wrote the lovely letter.
Yes.
She wrote they tried to convince her to come back.
Right.
And she wrote a letter saying, thank you so much for the offer, but I'm out.
I mean, they spent money to have people try to find her because Martha wanted her back. She couldn't live without her. Wanted her to come back and be their slave. And she ran and ran and ran some more. So, and she was just one of the many people that ran from that plantation. So she, she's one of the names that we know. And there are a few other names. But yeah, Martha. I start with Martha.
You start with Martha. See, I start with Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton as the first full on entitled ass Karens.
Mm-hmm. That's a whole other level of Karen hood.
Jump in, Angela.
Well, may I throw Jane Addams into the mix? Thank you very much. From Chicago, Hull House, and a social worker. And she is one of our founding mothers of social work in the settlement house movement. And what she wanted to do was take care of all these poor little things that she felt needed care. And don't get me wrong, there are lots of aspects of social work that are truly focused on the needs of people, fulfilling resources. But then we have to think about why people come into the profession of social work and why they choose to work with people who are quite often unlike them, that they know nothing about other than what they've read in a book. So I start with Jane Addams as a woman who said, hey, I just got to help these people. You know, I have all these things and I see all these poor people and I just need to make sure these poor people are okay. That's how my Karen talks. So that's my beginning.
Well, no, I mean, the question is, how did we get to a place? What were the steps? What were the historical footsteps that got white women to the place where they feel, where out of one side of your mouth you're asking me to stand with you as a feminist because we're all women, so that should be important. Your movements, what you want, should be paramount. But I can't ask you to stand with me as a Black woman. We don't, and your idea of standing together is you first, your needs first. Your oppression as a woman, this is why I started with them two bitches, them two old suffrage bitches. These women sat around the abolitionists, Harriet and Sojourner and Ida B. Wells and Frederick Douglass. They sat around the abolitionists, learned how to start a movement, usurped all of the resources and the energy they could, and then effectively wrote Black women out of the story.
But do you think they ever considered Black women as women? When I resonate on Jade's mentioning her talking about Martha Washington. Martha wanted this slave woman back because it fulfilled her needs. She had no care about the other woman's need, or I mean, she probably didn't even see her as a woman. This was a servant and a pet, something that made her feel good. So if I'm doing things that make me feel good, then I'm going to get that good feeling from any place, you know, from ice cream, from cookies, from chocolate cakes. You know, I'm going to get that good feeling from a nice glass of red wine. I'm going to get that good feeling, but I am not going to ever be concerned about how the wine came to be, how the ice cream was churned, or who melted that chocolate and put it in the mold. I don't care. You meet my need. So if I have to sit with you to get my need met, then I'm going to sit with you, but you don't mean anything to me.
There's two layers. Did she see her? Did Martha see Ona as a woman? Did Martha see Ona as human?
Listen, and we can ask this question today with the white women in the dreadlocks, with the white women naming their kids Ebony and Lakeisha, with the white women in the ass shots. There are, and the duck lips, and like what? Yeah. You know, everybody, like, you can't say it enough. Paul Mooney says everybody want to be a nigga till it's time to be a nigga. And so we have to ask white women, especially the woke ones, especially the ones that stole the Me Too movement, who have effectively infiltrated every Black movement. and co-opted it for their purposes and tried to cast what's her name on Burke, the sister that started that Me Too hashtag.
Oh, yeah, it's
Do not remember names.
Is it
I want to say it's
Tanya or no?
I'll look it up.
Look it up. We're looking it up. Somebody has to look it up. We have too much technology to be stuck on this sister's name.
Tarana Burke.
Tarana Burke. Okay. I wondered. I was trying to call her Tonya or something. Tarana Burke. These white women swooped in, stole her movement, and tried to write her out of it. But Joy Reid. But I mean, literally. But for Joy Reid. Because Joy is the only one. When Black women get in power, when Black women get an opportunity, we're the only ones that look out for us.
That's because community is important.
Well, I think you both have heard me say, white women don't have a community. White women do not have a community. I've dealt with enough of y'all. If you're watching, this is what I mean by that. If I point at my sister and I say, Angela, let me holler at you for a minute. Let me talk to you. Okay. My sister knows we got to talk about something. Good, bad, whatever. She knows that it is time for us to have a conversation, that we have a communication. There's a way that something's about to be discussed. They don't have a shared language with each other.
There's
white
a
women
shorthand for Black women. There's a shorthand for Black people that when you are in situations, it doesn't matter if I know you, if we even speak the same language. If you're Black and I'm Black, that look, you know what that means.
And it started with the kidnappings. And it started when the Africans were being kidnapped. But we had to have a shorthand. Yeah. I'm sorry, Angela.
No problem. For safety and support, Africans that were stolen from lands, they did not all have common languages because they came from everywhere. And everywhere were different little villages, each little tribe. Everybody had different ways of communicating. So you brought people together who did not have common language, and they had to be able to some way learn how to communicate. And I think that has filtered down also for safety, because if we are together and I need something, I'm going to look to you. I'm going to look to somebody who I feel comfortable with for that safety. But white women don't need a common language. They don't need to feel safe because their words are true and accepted. And if I say it as a white woman in any space, place, or environment, it is accepted. I don't need anyone else's support as a white woman to express my view, have it heard, and have men killed on my word.
We'll just let that sit for 1 second, because it is the truth.
They don't need to feel safe.
They don't. They don't need to feel
all of the accoutrement of safety.
They have the trust of the world. I cannot be in community with you when you don't understand that this world is not safe for me. There is no way in hell I would have been able to go into that hotel and demand to see anybody's phone, even if I was talking to another Black person.
No.
They would have, and I didn't stay there, and I wasn't a guest. I hadn't been a guest for 24 hours. They would have thrown my Black ass out.
Well, Karen down the way, sitting there at the buffet, would have called 911, and you probably would have been shot within 12 seconds from someone running in with a gun.
And I need white women to acknowledge that privilege and acknowledge that historically you have used that privilege as tool for my oppression and the oppression of my people. And I need white women to understand that for Black people, I am Black first. My uterus, my femininity, my womanness is a distant second. I have to be Black first.
Because you cannot take it off when you walk into a room. I cannot hide it under a shirt. I cannot put a wig on big enough that will cover my Blackness as a woman. I am this. And if I dye my hair, if I do anything different to my appearance, you still see a Black woman, and that's who I am. So you deal with that first. And when you tell me you don't see my color, then you have negated the whole being of who I am.
Let's unpack this real quick. You two really smart ladies. What are all the ways in which Karen uses language to to establish her dominance? Because when you say that, like, I don't see color, that's an attack. That's violent. And like, what are some of the other ways that you've heard the language used, that we've read about it being used, or that we can tie historically? What are some of the other phrases that white women hide behind that are actually really violent? Because I'm telling you, that I don't see color shit as violent.
It's very violent. Microaggressions run rampant, and they are just smoothed over because nobody wants to address it in the moment. I'll tell you a really quick story. I was at my place of employment, and I was sitting at the table, and in the field of social work, you are typically one of few Black women, unless you're working in certain types of social work jobs. But typically, they're going to be mostly white women, mostly young white women, and then there's going to be me. And other women of color have made some choices in their life, typically to mainstream themselves so that they are more accepted. So I'm sitting at the table, several young women, white women, a couple of white women around my age, and two or three in the middle. And then the conversation always turns to hair, particularly my hair. And oh my God, how do you do that? Does that like take hours? I heard that you had to sit in the hairdresser for like hours to get that done. Is it braided? And I've learned how to not hear that conversation, and I just simply don't address it. But there was one particular person who had to take it a little further. And she said, well, I just hate it when my hair gets like that, like kinky like that, because I just hate kinky hair because it's just like, it's like having pubic hair on your head, isn't it? So in the moment I looked, and I was kind of new at this job at the time, so I looked and I saw the hush that fell over the one end of the table. And then the other white women at the other end started shoving pizza in their mouths. And the white woman who doesn't like pubic hair on her head did this. So I said, as I looked down the table, I like my hair the way it is, kinky, curly, whatever. I think we all should be proud of who we are and the hair that we have on our head. Now, mind you, in that moment, I did not address Karen. I did not say, whoa, where's this coming from? No, I didn't. And obviously, I've held on to that. But those.
Of course you have.
Hold on a little bit. Just a bit. But those hair conversations, those conversations about what we eat. Oh my God, do you know, have you had chitlins? Personally, I don't eat chitlins, but don't ask me. Why you asking me? Yeah, it's so those
am I the ruler of all chitlins?
Oh, wait, I had a Yertle moment. I'm sorry. A Yertle the turtle moment. Jade, Carla will probably tell you I love Yertle the turtle.
Yeah.
The king of
the share it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway,
we're not gonna do our shtick. Siblings. We do a shtick.
Another time, Jade will do it.
Another time.
Okay.
Jade, did you? Because I saw you get triggered.
There's the I don't see color, and then I don't care if you're blue, black, green, purple, or orange. Well, there are no green or blue people. So you've put me in the category of alien now.
Of Smurfs and avatars.
Right.
There's no blue life, motherfucker. There's no blue life. There's no.
And I remember years ago, I was watching Jane Elliott, who I love Jane Elliott. And she made that comment that when white people are saying that is trivializing whatever the discussion is. That is saying, I'm really not paying attention to whatever you're talking about. I really don't care. I don't see color. It's the same thing. But you're putting Black people and brown people in a category of alien, which is other.
I had a white woman when I worked in my corporate life stick her hand deeply all the way into my afro. I was sitting at my desk with my back turned, and the afro was picked out beautifully that day. And Wendy Cohen, if she's around and she sees it, she knows what happened. Walked up and was like, "It's so pretty," and stuck her hand fully in my fro. Now, my sister and I are a lot alike, but we differ. Because I swung on. I hit that bitch square across her face. I spun, bow, because I didn't even know who it was. I just know I'm sitting here in the white man's job, dealing with your racism on multiple levels, and you got the nerve, the audacity, and the unmitigated gall, as my mother would say, to stick your funky ass hand deeply into my afro. I hit her. And she, oh! I said, "Bitch, don't you ever in your life put your hands on me like that again." My good girlfriend at work at the time, Helene, rescued the broad. She ran up and snatched her. Ran up, grabbed the mug, pulled her away, and explained to her how she better disappear for the rest of the day. That was in the morning. At lunch, I came back from lunch to a Starbucks card and an apology, because then she understood. And when I got my bile down enough to talk to this broad, several days later, I said, "What's interesting about the fact that you touched me like that is that it even occurred to you to pet me. The touching. What are you wearing? What? Oh, your hair. I've had a white walk up on me where I had on dashiki. I just love these fabrics. Bitch, why are you touching me?
I
What
think
are
it's important
you
to
doing?
I think it's important to unpack why that is traumatic and also an attack. It's a physical attack, and why Black women are so triggered when that happens, because it's a violation of your personal space. It is a physical attack. Someone you don't know or someone you do know is coming at you with their hands. What are you as a human being supposed to do in response? Any human would be like, that's my personal space, unless you invite someone into that space. So the fact that you get upset is also demeaned as inhumane, because why would you get upset? I just wanted to touch you, but I'm not human. I'm not supposed to have a human response. I keep going back to the human.
Because that's kind of the point.
Yeah.
That you're going there because that's the ways in which you dehumanize me by touching me, or this oh Lord, white women, if you're watching, if you look at a Black person and you find yourself wanting to say words like you don't feel safe, or you feel like you feel attacked, or you feel like you're in danger, if you feel that shit coming up out your mouth and you looking at a Negro, push it back, push it down, because that's the violent language that has been getting black men specifically killed. Black women have died at the hands of this bullshit too. More Black women have lost jobs because of it. Because anytime I assert my authority, well, I mean, like, why are you so angry? I just feel attacked by you, Carla. No, bitch, you gonna get attacked. Because I don't play with y'all. I just, I was talking to him, and he got loud, and I just didn't feel safe.
Oh, I attack people all the time, apparently, because the tone of my voice changes. And that's how I attack people. Because when you are speaking to me in a demeaning, derogatory way, and I have to slow my words down and speak with you so as you understand me and hear the bass in my voice. Oh, well, now your tone has changed, Angela. I don't know why you're so angry. I really don't think that I can speak to you because you're now angry.
Well, then don't speak to me. I prefer it. I pray to God that this is the last conversation you and I have, ma'am.
But I think a lot of it is what you have both shared about privilege and history. Historically, well, I think we moved up to 3/5 human, but as we were brought to these shores, people were placed on platforms and teeth looked at, and hair pulled, and women bent over, anuses probed, and felt, and all of these things treated as though they were not human,
and given as trophies to white women.
And given as trophies. And this is the thing that I am giving you to serve you and make you feel okay. And this has continued, that we are not equal to any other human in the needs that we have.
So, the moral of the story, white women, is gather yourself, gather your cousins, and take stock of your culpability. Reflect on the fact that 53% of white women voted for Donald Trump in 2016, and 55% voted for Donald Trump 4 years later. All them 74 million people that voted for him did not have penises.
No.
And I and the rest of Black womandom have done you all a great disservice by not directly calling you out every single time you have a Susan B. Anthony moment.
Well,
And I, for one, am not taking that energy into this year. I would like to thank my sibling for her. You'll be back. You're smart. I'll keep you. I would like to thank Just Jade.
Welcome.
You're always coming back. You old headed. That is it. That is all. I am going to say adieu, and we'll be back with some more newsreel, with some real news about some real shit that you might not want to hear, but I'm gonna say it.